Joel Embiid was ruled out for the game tonight against Portland. And Ken, this is huge development for the MVP race in the NBA.
Yeah, totally agree. So just to like give people, do like a minute on getting everybody up to speed, because maybe we maybe aren't paying attention to this, and it's really interesting. And a lot of stuff happened over the weekend too that we that we kind of were going to go over anyway until we had this news with tonight. So Joel Embiid, by missing tonight's game, he can now only miss 5 more games the rest of the season. And if he misses more than 5, he will be ineligible for All NBA and Most Valuable Player. He will not be like allowed to be selected. There's a process where he can appeal, but it's like extenuating circumstances. It's not this, basically. It's like, I don't even want to make up a situation. It would be like morbid or something, but like whatever. There's like special circumstances where he could get an exemption and still be eligible. I don't believe any of them apply to this specific situation, which is just you're hurt and you're not going to play. And this is happening to Tyrese Halliburton of the Pacers too, who's about to cost himself like $200 million in Supermax money by not meeting a games threshold. Probably this year he aggravated his hamstring injury. So the handicap of MVP was becoming really, really tenuous and really stressful, honestly, because you're not handicapping player performance anymore. And it was becoming more and more and more likely as Embiid was playing more games and as he was playing really well, his 70 points the other night against the Spurs. As he was doing this, it became very clear, or at least in my opinion, it became very clear that if he met the 65 game threshold, he was going to win almost 100% of the time. Like there were basically becoming 2 halves. Jay Croucher, who does a lot of work for NBC, Bet the Edge, who bets awards. I was talking about this today. He said there were like 2 umbrellas of outcomes, is how the way that he put it, where it's like Embiid when he plays the 65 and when he doesn't, and you're assigning a probability to each one. And then within the he plays 65, you need to have some outcomes like, well, he plays 65, but Jokic just absolutely like kills it, or he plays 65, but Luka absolutely, stuff like that. But as Embiid was doing what he was doing, those outcomes kind of got really small. And it kind of became, is he going to play the 65? Yes or no? And that almost became the MVP market. The yes is Embiid to win MVP. The no is everybody else. And you assign whatever probability you want to that. I feel pretty strongly that I still feel pretty strongly if he gets to the 65, that I think he's just going to win. I actually think he'll win really easily if he gets to the 65, even by dodging the Nuggets game the other night. Now, what we've learned by him sitting out tonight's game is that it wasn't a dodge. He's really hurt. Woj alluded to this in the pre and post game show during like the triple header that occurred during Rivals Week over the weekend, that there's really something wrong here. And Woj even saying like Embiid might want to sit out an extended period just to make sure he's ready for the playoffs. There was almost sympathy. Stephen A. Smith had some of the same stuff. There was almost sympathy, like, no, like this might be really bad. Like his knee might be messed up. And if that happens, here's why the market's so tricky, right? I'm not saying he's not going to win now. What I'm saying is the market is going to react really aggressively to this news. He missed a game, then he missed another one. They play tomorrow. We're running out of games and it's January. Maybe he still gets there. How do you think the market's going to respond to that? And if you're holding Embiid and your bets have aged really well, again, my opinion, and I believe this very strongly, and I'll be wrong. Like if he goes and he wins, be like, oh, Ken, you missed an opportunity to just hold, and he would have won. Like, why didn't you just hold? I don't want to hold. I have pulled the ripcord. I'm good on all of this. I'm so good. And because I got 9-1, 10-1, 11-1, 8-1, 7, whatever, who do I want to bet? Everybody. Who cares? But more Jokic. He's going to be a minus favorite pretty soon. But like, who cares? And that's honestly, that's the good thing about making good bets. You can have this happen and you can just do that. And it's totally okay. And you just, it gets paid in May. That sucks. They hold your money for a little bit. But like you gave yourself that out. I'm a push notification away from like being broke in this market. Anybody want to live there? Anybody want to live in that neighborhood? I don't. He is now more than 4-1 in some places, and most of that equity has gone to, or win probability has gone to Nikola Jokic, and a little bit of it has gone to some other guys. So this is all we're doing this in real time. We don't know if he's going to play tomorrow. He might become ineligible to win the award very soon, in which case he goes to 0 and somebody else wins, and he was the favorite. Like, how have you bet this today? How are you thinking about this market? Always interested to kind of get your thoughts on this stuff.
I look at the rest of the field and the fact that all of the equity went right out of the Embiid pot into the Jokic pot as an existing holder of Jokic. I was like, oh, wonderful. Like, this is great. But I don't think that's right. I think, Jokic's best basketball was like games 1 through 30, really. And in particular, that stretch where Jamal Murray was not available, and he was really like, his usage was up, his efficiency was unreal. And now that there's more help for him on the team, like, he's just not putting up as impressive an overall portfolio, which is why he was drifting before any of this happened. And I think that definitely opens up the door for SGA. I think his price is reasonable and fair, and he should probably have gotten a little bit more attention in sort of the reallocation. And I absolutely think Giannis should have gotten more attention. I got in at 10-1 for full stakes offshore. I felt like that was pretty lucky because the market's not even there anymore. So I don't know why those are going up and down, but it was there for an hour. It was there for like an hour. It was like there for like an hour, and now it's gone. I think so. I think I'm probably in a position now where best case for me is that Giannis manages to win this because, the Bucks are going to be a good regular season team from here to the end of the season. If Doc Rivers helps turn them around defensively, then all of a sudden Giannis somehow maybe even gets credit for pulling the trigger on the Griff firing. So there's definitely scope here where you look at the results we have from this season. Giannis is building. He's getting better. He's having an incredible year, and he's running Jokic down in terms of some of the all-in-one stats that are out there. And yeah, it's fun conversation. And if you're the last man on Embiid Island, I'll pray for you, but I think you're going to be in trouble in about 2 weeks.
From a narrative standpoint, first, just like I've seen a lot of like slander about this matchup because like we've seen it before, to be fair, and these are two teams that have been really relevant. Like there's no surprise story, there's no underdog story, there's nothing like people I think inherently want to root for. It's like, well, here's the team that makes it all the time against the best player ever who's literally in the game every year. Like, oh, great. I'm like obsessed with this game just from like a narrative standpoint, though. Just like the idea that, like, again, like super macro, Mahomes makes it the first, like Mahomes stumbles against Brady, comes back the next year, like an important game, loses in overtime at home to Brady in the AFC Championship, comes back the next year, makes the Super Bowl. I think San Francisco probably felt like going into that game, they had the better team and kind of like put Mahomes in a straitjacket for 3.5 quarters. And Shanahan's in the game. Like he's still new at that point in terms of like being a head coach. Like we'd seen Falcons 28-3, but he was a big part of that. But like as a coach, like still pretty new. I guarantee he probably felt like he had a better team. They handled Mahomes almost 100% of the game. And then he Houdini'd it again, and he hits the play to Tyreek Hill and like off and running, and the Chiefs go on to win that Super Bowl. And what always got brought up, this is like Mahomes when he lost to Brady in the Super Bowl, it was the offensive line's fault. They fix it, they go back, they beat the Eagles. Shanahan, I'm sure, felt like, I need a different quarterback. If I'm going to go play Mahomes again, at some point ever again, Jimmy G can't be the guy. We're not going to win. And so the idea that it's come full circle, like he has a chance to avenge this. He's got his guy now, and Purdy's not perfect, but like Purdy was number one in everything in the regular season. I'm back with this guy now. Like, can I get my revenge on Mahomes? Basically, now like retooled with this team, and I've got the quarterback now. At least I think I do. And is he actually going to do it? I don't know. And I'm like just fascinated by that aspect of this. It's like just this historic, easy to, it's almost like a wrestling narrative, like it's just so easy to understand. It's gripping. I mean, it's really, really interesting stuff. Lifetimes of stuff. So because they're like, if Shanahan loses this game, I'm like afraid for how he's going to be remembered if he drops this game. And it's unfair. He's going to make the Super Bowl twice. He's going to lose to Mahomes both times. And it's going to be like, yeah, the guy never wins. Be like, well, I don't know who beats this guy, Joe Burrow and Tom Brady, and only one of them's playing still. So just like, man, like it's just the stakes here are outrageous. So yeah, just from a narrative standpoint, it's crazy. And but like, are they going to do it? And like, can they do it? And this will be my last thing, PJ, just like first thought on the game 1.0. And I'm betting you feel the same way. If there is a unit in this game, offense or defense, that looks like it doesn't belong, take the two teams' offenses and the two teams' defenses. Is there a unit in this game that looks like it doesn't belong? The answer is yes, and it's the Niners defense, and it's not even close.
Correct.
Like, and
Correct.
that's what I'd be worried about. Everybody else looks like they belong. God, I mean, like Harrison Butker is one of the best kickers, you know? Like the Niners special teams is actually pretty good. Like everything, like their kickers, but like everything, it fits. The two coaches fit. Is there something that Spags is like almost a Hall of Fame coordinator now? Is there something that doesn't look like it belongs in a game like this? And it's Steve Wilkes coordinating this Niners defense, and that's what doesn't look like it belongs. And if that's the weak link in the game, I picked the Niners at the start of the playoffs because I didn't think this would happen, actually. And I've watched it, and now I'm going to be really reluctant to kind of think that if they can block this front four like the Packers did, like the Lions did, especially in the first half, and really most of the game, honestly. And the Chiefs' offensive line, like Joe Thuney's maybe play in this game, which would be a huge deal, obviously. They can block that front. Mahomes can't throw on this team. Are you nuts? Like, of course he's going to be able to throw on this team. So, I like, they're not going to be able to run that. Look what the Lions did yesterday. Pacheco can't have a huge game in this. You can run on the Niners. Look at this game. Like, that's the part of this where I just go, the Niners offense, I think, is really compelling. I think they can win. I don't think almost anybody can beat Mahomes. I think they can win. I don't think I can ever bet it now, having watched the defense for 2 weeks. I mean, it's really going to hold me up, I think, the whole 2 weeks from placing the bet on the Niners.